नमस्कार. गोवा कनेक्ट ह्या कार्यावळीत तुमचें स्वागत. गोंयांत सध्या घोग्यांनी पावस पडटा. सगळे कडेन बुट्टी आयल्या आनी लोक इतले त्रासान पडिल्ले आसा. घरां मोडल्या, झाडां पडटा आनी ह्या खेपे कितलेशेच लोक मेले ऑलरेडी, बंटी पडून, लँडस्लायड जावन. सो आनी फक्त सद्याक 1.5 म्हयन्याचोच पावस जाला आनीक ऑलमोस्ट 2.5 म्हयने ऑफिशियल मॉन्सून सिजन उरला. आनी आतां ऑलरेडी 1.5 म्हयन्या भितर मॉन्सुनान कितलेशेच रिकॉर्ड ब्रेक करपाक सुरू केल्ले आसा. 8 जुलय हो एक असो दीस ज्या दिसा असो पावस पडलो की कितलेशेच डेकेडांचेच रिकॉर्ड ताणें ब्रेक केले. आनी सगळ्यांत चड पावस पडलो पणजे. 360 मिलीमिटर पावस एका 24 वरां भितर पणजे पडलो. त्या शिवाय 5 दिसां भितर 20% सिजनाचो पावस पडलो, तो 14 जुलय टू 19 जुलय. त्या शिवाय ऑलरेडी 75% जो टोटल हे आसा तो ऑलरेडी पडला पावस 1.5 म्हयन्या भितर. सो अशे तरेचे वेगळे वेगळे रिकॉर्ड सद्याक ब्रेक जायत आसा. आनी हाजे फुडें कितें जातलें हें आमी आतां पळोवपा खातीर आयज आमचे बरोबर आसा डॉक्टर रमेश कुमार. हे ह्या विशया वयले तज्ञ आसा. कितलींशींच वर्सां तांणी हाजेर रिसर्च आसा आनी ताजे शिवाय ते NIOचे एक्स सायंटिस्ट, रिटायर्ड सायंटिस्ट NIOतले. सो तांचे कडेन आमी विचारया की आतां इतले रिकॉर्ड सद्याक आमी जावपाक लागल्या 1.5 म्हयनो भितर, आनी हाजे फुडें आनी कसले कसले रिकॉर्ड ब्रेक जावपाक शकता गोंयान, आनी फुडली आमची फ्युचर कितें आसा गोंयाक. वेलकम डॉक्टर रमेश कुमार.
Thank you.
What is the state of affairs in Goa right now?
I will tell you simple words. What you said is 100% true. In one day, we got almost 36 centimeters of rainfall in the capital, Panjim. That itself is what we call an extreme rainfall event. We call an intense rainfall event 10 centimeters more jalami intense sangta. A 36 is actually out of the blue. In fact, in one single day, we have never had such rainfall in the past several decades. Okay, and that day almost all the stations, 13 rain gauge stations in Goa had actually 10 centimeters, some had actually 15 centimeters, some had 20 centimeters.
So it was like a test for Goa, Panji smart city.
Exactly. I would say the whole city would have been flooded, but it was like a deluge or monsoon mayhem. You can say mayhem or whatever. The whole city was, I would say, the whole state was
cloud burst, but it cannot be termed as.
I would say it could have been, but then the entire state you cannot have a cloud burst. What you said is true. The entire state, the cloud burst can be actually highly localized, maybe one place or whatever, because the cloud cannot be of such a huge size or dimensions. So I would say it's actually like a very very active, or I would say vigorous monsoon happening over the whole state of.
So what are the whatever I counted few records? What are the more records actually already monsoon has created in Goa?
See, till today morning, as you correctly mentioned, we have actually crossed the 100 inches rainfall mark for the state of Goa. Another interesting thing is actually every day, it may not be as like in 7th July till 8th July morning, it may not be every day like that, but there are several days when some stations have got actually 10 centimeters of rainfall or more, and that is widespread. This is actually bad. Bad in the sense that almost different parts, and neither the district nor the disaster management are capable of looking at actually all these things simultaneously, because sometimes it may be in Valpoi, sometimes it may be in Ponda, sometimes it may be in Panjim, and a lot of development work is also going on parallelly. There can be waterlogging. Waterlogging is a very very serious thing, especially when you travel by actually 2-wheelers or cycles or even cars.
Yes.
It's actually very serious thing. Yeah.
This year the damage what is happened in Goa today this year.
Yeah.
Is it more than what?
I would say it is much more. In fact, a lot of trees, either in front of actually that Patanjali, this one where he had actually trimmed or let's say pruned. One actually tree fell in front of that Kamath near the Panjim church. So there are
even today there is incident, one girl injured.
Exactly. So there are n number of places where the trees would have to have been pruned, or maybe whatever, the branches should have been cut by either by the PWD or by the forest fire department. So the n number of things which should have been done, because this is a serious damage. A lot of cars have been damaged, lot of things have been so such things have been happening all over.
So if the monsoon prolongs, then there are more chances of tree falling.
100%, because see, basically I will tell you a simple example. Just prior to this active spell, the temperatures were hovering around 34, 35, 36. Now it has almost come down 10 degrees. And the minimum temperature is as low as 24 degrees or 25 or 26. So I would say the entire state of Goa is in air conditioned mode. That's what I was just mentioning, that we don't need actually air conditioner here. And most of the houses, maybe we can save in electricity, but other places we'll have to have a serious problem.
Okay, so what more records
Yeah.
in future?
Actually, I would say each day. Each day is actually, see, for example, I think today they didn't give the value of actually Walpole. Walpole would already crossed 3,000 millimeters. That's a record. In fact, the whole seasonal rainfall have been averaged 3,000 to 3,500 water. Remember, as you said, we have only completed 51 days out of the 122 days. We had another 71 days remaining. So there is lot in store for us. Another thing is actually we are going to have another important phenomenon called La Nina. The August and September La Nina is mellow. It will be like a double whammy.
Oh.
The entire Indian subcontinent will have actually more and more of rainfall, including our state of Goa.
Oh.
So we'll have more rains in the months. Usually the peak monsoon months are July and August. But if it is coming in the August, we'll have lots of rain in August as well as in September for the entire Indian subcontinent, including the state of Goa. So it's
This
actually
is a warning for the state of Goa actually.
Exactly.
And
It's
disaster
a-
management should be
disaster management
getting
should
ready
be
for
prepared.
this.
Town and planning company people should be prepared. There are a number of people. should
But
be
are they
prepared.
ready, giving the
I-
your experience for last few days? Are they?
I'm not sure, but there have been lot of places where the schools this have been given actually. But I would one positive
giving
thing-
holiday to school is not a disaster management. No?
No,
They should have equipment.
I would say this IMD has done a good job by giving continuous red alerts and orange alerts for several days.
But they
So-
missed the first red alert.
Yeah, I know that.
On 8th of July,
8th July
they missed
morning.
it.
Maybe there is actually one off, but still, what you said is true. But at the other days, they had actually done a good job. Maybe thanks to a Doppler weather radar and efficient people. Nahun Kulkarni as well as Dr. Rajasri had done a good job of actually telling people well in advance how the things are happening.
But then, knowing in advance, our machinery should be prepared for dealing with the situation.
Yeah. See, that is up to the either the disaster management or the district administration should be prepared to take such actions or whatever. Very true.
So, what records you have? in your
Basically, I was looking at actually several things. One is actually the daily rainfall, as I mentioned, which is actually, so as you correctly mentioned, on the 8th of July, that's the previous days. 7th of July had one of the worst, I should not say worst, one of the highest recorded rainfall anywhere in the history. The second was actually 153. So almost all the stations had actually wonderful rainfall. And I was looking at actually this active spell, starting from maybe 12th till today morning.
Yes.
That active spell is actually almost 9 days or whatever. That has
It
been,
is not ending.
yeah, it is
It's
it's
going on and on.
unabated. I don't want to say it is continuously
This
going
must
on.
be also a record.
Yeah.
That continues.
It is like, no, last year we had actually a spell like that, active spell. But this spell, I feel, will break that record. Last year we had an active spell in the month of July, which was much more. In the past 76 years, we have never experienced that. So 2023 had, maybe 2024 July might be a break it. Who knows? So there are several things. Okay.
So, what next actually? What is in store?
Yeah.
Now, just now you mentioned about this El Nino.
La Nina.
La Nina, that 10 what?
Yeah. La Nina is actually, I would say, what we mean by La
What is the
Nina.
possibility?
Yeah.
And when? What is the period?
Basically, we get the active and break spells in the months of July and August. And you are actually asking when can be the next break. So I would say usually the breaks happen either in the month of July or August. Usually it happens in the month of August. So it is quite possible. And you cannot have, see, basically we need lots and lots of moisture for such rainfall. And the source of moisture from this actually comes from the southern Indian Ocean. And these are carried from the southern Indian Ocean into the peninsular India through the cross-equatorial flow and the lower level jet. And I was just actually looking at the lower level jet. It's actually of knots of actually 30 knots or 35 knots. It brings copious amounts of moisture from the southern Indian Ocean through the Arabian Sea branch, and we call it a low level jet, and gives lots of rainfall along the west coast of India. And we have an offshore trough along the west coast of India, low level jet, and we have a monsoon trough, which is the south of the mean normal precision. If you look at the west coast of India and the eastern coast there is hardly any rainfall, because I was recently in Hyderabad and Vizag, we hardly got any rainfall over
That's what
there.
I wanted to ask you actually.
Yeah.
Compared to Goa, how rest of India is faring?
Okay, that's I would say,
excessive rain or are they getting normal rain?
Yeah, excellent question. Goa, I would say, has recorded the highest rainfall among all the states. Goa has received till today morning 58%. Okay, and there are maybe about 10 to 11 subdivisions which has got actually high deficit of rainfall. Out of the 36, Goa, Konkan and Goa especially has state of Goa has 58%, and the all India rainfall is
highest in the country.
Highest in the country, and subcontinent, Indian subcontinent, there is 1% deficit. So we are much better off. Mind you, this is without La Nina. So if you are actually La Nina or a positive Indian Ocean dipole, I don't know. It can be a double warming or a triple warming. I don't know. Lot of things are in store for us.
So what is the possibility of La Nina?
Yeah, La Nina is actually quite high in the month of actually August. It was supposed to come in July or maybe August. If it comes in the month of August or September, as I said, even September. Last year we got lots of rainfall in the month of September as compared to August. August was actually a very dry period in the month of in 2023, thanks to a phenomena called El Nino. El Nino is actually just opposite of La Nina, where there is actually cooling in the eastern equatorial Pacific Ocean near Peru coast. Whereas El Nino is just the opposite. We have a warming of that area which happened in 2023. So we are expecting, now it's a neutral condition, so we are expecting a La Nina, that is cooling or upwelling in that area, which will alternate or alter the Walker circulation, which can influence. In fact, whenever there's a La Nina, we had always normal or excess monsoon rainfall for the Indian subcontinent. It's a sure bet. Whereas El Nino does not have a one-to-one relationship with deficit or drought monsoon conditions.
So usually Goa receives 330 centimeters of rain in a season.
But this year we will positive 100% we will break it.
Okay.
We have actually reached 25-70 in 51 days.
Yes.
And we have actually 71 days.
Yes.
Maybe we will have a bumper. Maybe we may go up to 400 centimeters even.
That will be another record.
Maybe a record.
What is the highest?
I don't remember for sure. But
it won't be 400.
It won't be 400.
Is it because of the global warming? It is. I read somewhere that the seas are getting warmer and then there is more evaporation. That is why there are more clouds and more rain.
What you said is true, because there are several things. We cannot blame it only on global warming alone. One thing is actually the capacity of actually the atmosphere to hold moisture is actually high. And as you said, more and more moisture and more clouds. And as another thing, as I said, we have more and more intense rainfall event. It's not actually both spatial and temporal. See, as you correctly said, 36 centimeters of rainfall in one day in Panjim is not a good idea. Panjim is a small place, and if it is flooded, imagine, what will you do? So such things highly localized. In fact, rainfall is a discrete parameter. I say again and again, because if it is raining in Valpo, it may not be raining in Sangam or maybe Donapala or Panjim or maybe other places, Mapsa or maybe Ponda. Yes. So each place the rainfall is highly different. So that is what it makes interesting or maybe difficult also. And everybody wants the rainfall in front of their doorstep, which is very difficult, even with a Doppler weather radar or with IMD. Nobody can do this one like that, because our resolution is much more higher resolution.
So this high rainfall is seen as a negative thing, and it is actually creating devastation everywhere, a lot of problems. Is there any advantage of high rainfall?
There are a lot of advantages. Let me start with rainfall is a very good natural resource. See, every year we are crying. Only that rainwater should be properly harvested. And
now all dams are already full.
I would say full, because I think we have not done actually desiltation. Unless we did the desiltation, it may be only in the full in the top level. Okay. Unless the dams are actually properly desilted, and then there is enough capacity, that is one. But the rainwater harvesting is some important thing which all the societies should do.
Okay.
Because that there is already, even in the monsoon season, we have actually a tanker mafia which is running. So we get so much of rainfall and they want to remove or throw away the water from the dams. But then one is a recharge of water, which is a very, very high and natural resource.
It will be a foolish thing actually to do. We get so much of water and we are not
wasted.
conserving.
What you said is, or putting back into the Arabian Sea.
Right.
So basically, we should have actually a good rainwater harvesting mechanism, because as you said, 36 centimeters of rainfall in Panjim, where did it go? Ultimately, it would have gone to Arabian Sea only, because we don't have a mechanism of recharging our groundwater, which is highly needed. It can be used later. So we should have actually
how much water goes in the Arabian Sea? Recently, one minister, Ravi Naik, had made jokingly, actually, he made a comment that Goa can export water.
100% it's true.
So
forget about exporting water. At least we can use it for our own purposes. Because both the PWD and maybe other universities like Goa University and NIU has been doing a wonderful job of rainwater harvesting. Goa University has been, Dr. Chachadi has been doing. So other people can actually mimic, or maybe we can have more and more of ponds, more and more of wells, and more of groundwater recharging.
So Goa can be self-sufficient
at least in water. We don't have to export. We can be self-sufficient in water, especially during the coming winter or maybe pre-monsoon months.
So how much water goes in Arabian Sea right now? What percentage of water that falls in Goa?
I would say almost all.
Oh.
Because see, we don't see everywhere we have actually put a concrete or whatever. Unless there is actually proper recharging.
There's
of
no
actually,
percolation. There's
exactly, no
happening.
percolation takes place because everywhere we have put. Unfortunately, this one. If we have more and more of recharging this one, as you correctly mentioned, another thing is actually it has reduced the need actually for actually ACs or maybe fans, etc. As I said, the whole state of Goa has actually become like a air conditioned or whatever.
So consumption of electricity is less.
Substantially reduced. And maybe even for agriculture purposes, maybe there can be excess of water also is dangerous.
Yes.
But it can be good for actually crops like say paddy. Other things are actually very, very conducive. So in general, I would say this is actually very useful and excellent natural resource.
So you have given a warning that even bad days can come. You know, the situation can be even worse than this.
It is highly likely actually we will cross all the records. It's like a T20 match where we have actually exceeded almost all the world records are actually broken in the recent T20 finals in the World Cup. So similar way, every day Goa throws a surprise. As I said, today morning we had actually the highest rainfall in the entire Indian subcontinent of 58%. Okay. Which is actually a record. Whereas the Indian subcontinent there is a deficit of 1%. And there are several subdivisions which has actually deficit of 30, 40, etc. Especially northeast and northern parts as well as UP and Bihar and Jharkhand.
Northeast there is less.
There are some places except maybe one.
So what is the reason Goa getting so much of rain?
Yeah, one is actually we have all the synoptic conditions in our favor. As I mentioned, one is the offshore trough which actually goes from Gujarat to Kerala coast. We have a strong cross-equatorial flow, low level jet, and we have a lot of convective systems which are happening over the Bay of Bengal.
Western Ghat and also
Western Ghat. Sahyadri is actually this one. So we have all the synoptic and the monsoon trough is south of its normal position. All the synoptic conditions are favorable, and the core of the low level jet passes through actually our state of Goa at 15 degrees north. So all these things are conducive. That's why we get the very, very, I should say, unusual or abnormal amount of rainfall.
So is there any likelihood of a dry spell now in between?
Positively we'll have.
We'll be able to see sun.
That's $1 million. We will positively see sun. Maybe towards the end of this month or maybe August. In fact, actually, I had done a long back a study of active and break spells along with another girl called Uma Prabhu Desai. We had actually looked at the all India rainfall and that. Now she is currently in USA. So we have done actually. So in one particular year, we didn't have any break at all. That is the year 1908. In another year, that is in 2002, we had actually one of the longest break spells of 34 days. That is from 1st July up to 3rd of August. 34 consecutive days of break.
Oh.
Not active, break.
Okay.
So break is actually bad. I will put it that way. Active is good. But I would say usually we don't have, usually we have a active spell of 2 or 3 days. But not like 9 days or 10 days or whatever. So we should positively have a break. But breaks are bad and prolonged break like last year. Last year we had a break. And the year 2002, as I mentioned, we had a prolonged break of 34 days. Such breaks are actually bad for agriculture, drinking water, hydro, you name anything. Everything it is bad.
In terms of records of rainfall, I think Goa has got records right from 1900.
Correct.
You know, it's one
during
of the
the Portuguese period also they had
Portuguese period we had. So compared to Indian records, other cities, how Goa's records are better than other places?
I wouldn't say better or worse. Other states also. Calcutta, they started actually. In fact, the India Meteorological Department itself was started way back in Calcutta, where they had actually famine and cyclones, etc.
When was it?
It was in 1875.
Okay.
They had a prolonged data records. Then we had actually.
But when they started recording monsoon rainfall.
We had actually records. In fact, starting from 1875, the India Meteorological Department actually almost consecutive records. So they are, but as you correctly mentioned, Goa, we are actually, since we are worried about Goa also had a fantastic record thanks to that Portuguese this one. I had
and there were less number of centers, I guess. During Portuguese time, there are very few centers
in
now.
Fact, what you said is true. I had looked into the Portuguese epoch, 1928 to whatever, then I did 3 epochs, just after the independence and recent years. In fact, Goa has been showing an increasing trend of rainfall along almost all the rain gauges. Thanks to we have actually less and less of actually industrialization, I'll put it that way. Most of the industries actually change the scenario and land use land change pattern. The land use land change pattern has actually substantially changed. But if you look at actually places like say Dehradun or Mumbai or other cities or Madras, Goa is much better off. We are not so bad.
But Goa is not a city. Goa is a state.
Exactly. I fully agree with you.
So we can't compare Goa with Mumbai or any other.
But even I would say Goa, It is one of the smallest states, and
Yes.
maybe it is less in size as compared to the smallest district of any other place.
Yeah.
Whether if you look at Maharashtra or maybe UP or MP, our whole state of Goa is lower or
But
smaller than the
given the kind of situation is in Goa is a very sensitive state.
very
And ecologically very sensitive state. So we have to be prepared for any kind of disaster.
eventuality. Very true, very true.
And I think more efforts should go in and more
Planning, and maybe adaptation. And I fully agree, because water is actually
what kind of equipments or how disaster management can brace up for this.
See, I will tell you, recently we had actually a lot of landslides, especially in states like say Kerala.
Yeah.
And recently there is actually one gentleman is actually missing in a place in the South Karnataka.
Okay.
A whole lorry has actually gone down under this one. So if there is more and more of sludge coming, waters coming, and a number of trees, so it is actually
even highway construction.
Everything is affected.
Yes, even in Goa we reported so many.
So many things are happening. So as you said, it's ecological.
So development is actually also contributing to this.
Everything is contributing. One is actually, I would again and again stress that is actually, see, everybody needs a house. Everybody needs a vehicle. So the more and more greenhouse gases we put in the atmosphere can create more global warming or climate change and increase the temperatures, as you said in the beginning. That can rise this one, and it can keep more moisture, and it can give in the terms of rain. But this extreme rainfall events, and we had actually a couple of days back, we had actually heat waves in Delhi. Can you imagine heat waves where the temperature is more than 40, 50,
plus 50 degrees?
Just imagine. Yes. And the same place is now flooded. And Chief Minister of Delhi was actually brought us from Haryana and other places to give. Now he does so much flood. So that's what I said. No, the extremes are actually increasing.
Both extremes are
increasing, either in terms of heat waves, and then we have suddenly the floods and extreme rainfall events. These extreme events are actually very, very dangerous.
So this is going to be the norm in future?
Exactly, I fully agree. Because can you imagine 36 centimeters of rainfall in one day? And mind you, all said and done, I would say Goa is 1,000 times better than other places. If you go around
because of our topography, we could manage
exactly.
it.
Topography is actually very, very true.
But we can't.
We cannot sit back and relax or whatever. We should be prepared for any eventuality in anything which is going to come in future. Very true.
You must have seen in other countries how they are managing with kind of situation.
No, let me tell you, other countries, they don't have this type of amount of rainfall. The monsoon, especially the Asian monsoon, is the biggest thing. And the amount of rainfall which you get in the west coast of India, you don't get other places. If you look at the places or states like say Gujarat and Rajasthan, the mean annual rainfall may be about 10 centimeters. It can fall in one day. That's the seasonal rainfall I'm talking about. But if you go along the same latitude belt, there are places like say Monsoon or Cherrapunji where you get 1,000 centimeters of rainfall. So one place in one latitude belt we get about 10 centimeters, other side we get 1,000 centimeters, either Cherrapunji and Monsoon in the seasonal total.
In between Cherrapunji's rainfall had dropped.
So now Monsoon is actually that. So that is thanks to topography, as you said. Khasi Jaintia hills are there, which gives a lot of rainfall for that area. Here also we get maximum amount of rainfall in the west coast thanks to our Sahyadris or Western Ghats. We get maximum rainfall on the windward side. On the other side, for example, Mumbai gets a lot of rainfall, not Pune. Or other places also don't get much, which are actually on the
rain shadow areas.
Yeah, exiled rain shadow regions of the mountains.
But as far as water harvesting is concerned, what are the methods? What can be done?
See, we can have a simple thing. We don't have to go. Maybe one is actually revive our old wells, ponds, lakes, or whatever. We have to do, and maybe clean our rivers and the diesel tower, actually the dams. Even the rivers. So the n number of ways we can actually do, and we should take the help of actually people like say Goa University, for example, or geologists in Goa University, or any person. We can actually make a simple hole. If you have actually a plot, just make a simple hole. So whole of the water can actually go, and it can recharge the groundwater. So that water or the recharge water can be used in future. So that when the groundwater table will rise, and the recharge water or the well water can be used.
Right now what is happening is we are not recharging the ground table.
Zero.
But we are only drawing, because recently there was some raids on some bore wells. We were drawing water from the water table.
Very true.
Water is not recharging. So we need to do something about recharging.
100% we need to do effective way, and maybe PW should encourage, so that they don't say PWD should encourage, the universities can encourage, institutions like say NIO, NCPOR, and maybe ICAR, all these institutions, IMD, all can encourage more and more of actually recharging. All scientific
So
institutions can
two
do that.
most important points what we can draw from this discussion. One is water harvesting. We should
Very
do
important.
something.
Done at all society, housing society levels.
Yes.
They can do, because housing societies are the major consumers of actually water. Because more and more of people, maybe they may come only doing, but housing societies should have actually a place where all the water which is coming in their terrace can be piped and channeled and maybe put into a unused well, or maybe some groundwater water which can be used not necessarily for drinking. It can be used for other purposes.
Yes.
Maybe for washing, or maybe irrigation, or maybe car, n number of things which are using, not necessarily except for drinking. It can be used for any other purposes. So that is one.
And secondly, about disaster management.
Yeah, they should always be prepared, especially during the monsoon, whether the pruning of the trees or maybe electric poles. There are n number of electric poles which are fell. Maybe we should start in much more serious note about the underground cabling. So all these things can be avoided. So that should be at a much more faster pace.
Even the trees, I think, which are
trees should be pruned.
roots become
because
weak, and
whole this is actually gone. So it will just fall down, as you correctly said. 100-year-old trees.
yes.
It easily, because it is as good as actually a sponge. This one, like it will come out.
आता आमी इतले वेळ डॉक्टर रमेश कुमार हांचे कडेन भासाभास केली. ते ह्या विशया वयले तज्ञ, आनी तांणी हांगा फर्स्ट टायम तांणी एक इम्पॉर्टंट अशें एक इन्फॉर्मेशन प्रोवायड केलां, आनी तें म्हणजे आतां जो पावस आसा तो सगळे रिकॉर्ड ब्रेक करता. T20 म्हणटा तांच्यांनी उपमा दिल्या. सो T20 जावन सुद्दां आतां आनीक मोठें एक संकट आमचेर येवपाक शकता. आनी तो जर तो अल निनो इफेक्ट,
लानिना effect.
ला निनो इफेक्ट जर जालो आनी तो जर एक्टिवेट जालो जाल्यार गोंयांत हाज्याकूय चड पावस पडपाक शकता. कारण आनी फक्त 1.5 म्हयनो जाला आनी आनीक चड टायम उरला, आनी 2-2.5 म्हयने उरल्या एक्टीव मॉन्सून सेशनाचे. सो इतली आमी प्रिपेर रावचें पडटलीं गव्हर्मेंट मशिनरीन इमिजिएटली, कारण आमी पळयलां डिजास्टर मॅनेजमेंट नांवाचेर व्हडलेशें कांयच जायना. सो आतां तरी गव्हर्मेंटान जागे जावचें आनी डिजास्टर मॅनेजमेंटान हे नवो जे कितें आमकां संकट येवपाक शकता ताका तोंड दिवपा खातीर जाता तितलें काम करचें आनी सगळें इक्विपमेंट आनी आपली मशिनरी रेडी दवरची. तुमी हांगा आयले आनी आमकां ही बरी म्हायती दिली ताचे खूब खातीर तुमकां धन्यवाद. पळयत रावात गोमंतक TV.